We ended on £6,250, the highest fundraising team in the whole of the UK, fundraising for Diabetes UK. So that's not just in MVF, that is absolutely anyone in the country.
Welcome back to Lose to Win the podcast. Myself, Jack, and Josh. How are you doing, mate? How's things?
Yeah, really good. Back on track after a dismal weigh-in. I should say that I was away for a couple of weeks, so that's why it was dismal. Not just that I was slacking per se, but yeah, I'm definitely on a massive bounce back. I can tell. So I'm looking forward to the weigh-in for a while.
Good man. Having seen you last night, you definitely seem very positive about it, mate, which is really, really good and really important. Being able to bounce back when you need to, and we both know that you can do that really well. So I'm sure you're going to smash it this week.
Yeah. How about yourself, mate? Yeah, you weren't there last week, were you?
No, sadly, I twisted my Thursday night. I twisted my back somehow right at the end. I can't even really remember exactly what the moment was, but hurt my back, and then it just progressively got worse through Friday, and I just couldn't do it. At one point, I was in the car for work Friday morning over in Oxford, and had to go really early. I left the house at like 5 a.m, and I at least had to wake up to roll me out of bed. How bad my back was. And then I got into the car, got to where I needed to be, and just had to kind of like suck it up and waddle around and get back into the car and really struggle. And I thought this is only going to end badly. I was busy all weekend as well, so I knew I would just make things worse if I played. So I was absolutely gutted to miss it. But the boys did a job, didn't they, Joshy?
Yes, they did. To be fair, and the Yellows won't mind me saying this, and we'll get to this in a second, but we had a bit of a poor week on the scales collectively as a team. It was weird because we've started the season so well, and then just the week I'm back, not that there's any relevance at all, but we just I just think just combined, everyone seemed to put a little bit on. So on most people, struggled busy. Anyway, so it was a good game though. It's a shame you weren't there, and I hope you're feeling better now. I did see you yesterday, as you say, and you seemed like you're moving okay. So
yeah, we had some fun after the England game. Obviously, we watched it a little down.
Cheering up,
absolutely. Yeah, the pitches were free. I think only 2 of them were being used. 2 of the 6, I think it is. It's 6 or 8. I can't remember. 6 were being used. So we went and played some heads and volleys. That was super nostalgic for me. Having not played that for years, but lots of fun. And one thing I noticed, obviously, I wore trainers, so I took my shoes off. Like Liam said in the group, my feet, even through socks, my feet were black through. Honestly, they were so filthy. Like jumping in the shower, it was literally just like black running off of my feet. It was crazy, but really good fun as well. And a couple of brands in, and just all good fun. Really, really good fun. Much better than the fucking football that we watched.
Maybe we'll come to that later if we get time.
Oh, do we have to?
Maybe not. Anyway, for now though, shall I just jump into the roundup then?
Yeah, I might just say as well, we do have somebody waiting in the wings, a guest from another MVF, so that's why we've not introduced him yet. He is from a local MVF club to us. So we'll run through the roundup, and then we'll dive straight into with an interview, which I'm eagerly anticipating. I'm sure you are too.
Very much so. Yeah.
Let's do it.
So our week in Bournemouth then. Lots of pitch goals again this week. People can't stop scoring. Plus more off-pitch goals than there are complaints about Gareth Southgate. Well, not maybe now.
I might have doubled
anyway, now. Yeah. Hat-tricks, milestones, and last man standing all had their say in the final scores. Plus 40 players out of 62, with good old traditional losses for the week. So overall, it was a week of unspectacular but steady loss. So 14.7 kilos for the club as a whole, but with a few eye-catching individuals bucking the trend. So the results are as follows. So the Greens lost a rather one-sided one, unfortunately, to them, 12-1 to the Whites. The Purples managed to lose, and we'll come to this, with 2 milestones on the team, 2018 to the Oranges. The Blacks continue to roll on with a 2010 win against the Reds, and us Yellows, as I mentioned, we lost 12-10 against your Blues, Jack. The game of the week, as I mentioned, was the high-scoring meeting of the Purples and Oranges. Either side would have beaten any other team on the scales this week, and the purples will count themselves unlucky to lose despite having 2 milestones, as I mentioned this week. But with all 7 oranges losing weight, a milestone of their own, and a healthy smattering of hat tricks and last man standing bonuses, the oranges were kind of too hot to handle on that one. So
that is brutal,
good week
isn't it?
good week to have it, I guess. It made me laugh slightly, and it's a shame Ben isn't here to say this, but I happen to be a ringer for them. So that was a 2-goal swing there. And he mentioned to me on the pitch just before we started, he just said, "Oh, you know, we've got a ringer, but if we keep this close, we've got 2 milestones, so we should be okay."
Yeah.
And it was, including the ringer penalty, it was a 3-2 loss on the pitch. And yeah, just to lose by a couple was a bit, yeah. So I'm sure he wasn't best pleased, but he'll have his say. And knowing Ben, he would have been full of congratulations for the Oranges on their performance. So,
and rallying his troops as well, I'm sure.
Yes, yeah. There are 11 players, by the way, earning a bonus goal due to the 4 perfect weeks start in last man standing, spread between 5 different teams, actually, with 19 players completing hat tricks as well. There are 4 milestones to celebrate this week. Pete Courage has broken through the 5% barrier, while Sam Troughton and Matt Waterman both joined the 10% club. So well done to all 3 for such great progress. But the biggest accolade, I should say, this week, and that's not to overshadow any of the others, but it goes to Tom Marks, who continues his incredible run of weight loss. He's added agility to his game between the sticks, along with reaching his 30% this last week.
Amazing.
Tom has lost over 5 kilos this season alone in 4 weeks, and wait for it, 51.2 kilos overall, which is astonishing, really.
An insane transformation as well.
Yeah, I know.
He was so good in goal anyway, even more so now.
Yeah. Now he feels like he can get up and down even quicker.
Yeah.
He might have lost the extra few inches that stopped the ball going in at his thighs and that, and his around his waist, but he adds to that with his agility.
He feels the goal a different way now, shall we say?
Yes, indeed. Although I should say that 51.2 is the equivalent of a whole Kylie Minogue, if she were carrying an air fryer as well. So well done to Tom there. It's a phenomenal achievement, and we know he's not finished.
Amazing work, mate. Also, a quick shout out to Pete Courage. I know that there's a lot of stuff going on for him recently with a newborn and everything else. So amazing work and the commitment that he's shown. So amazing work, buddy. Keep going.
Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. He turned up last minute. I know he wasn't sure he could make it, and he came on, smashed a milestone, and that was the difference. So
yeah, a top guy and doing really well, and such a great asset to the league now as well. So well done, mate.
Yeah. Okay. 14 players went out of last man standing, leaving 35 remaining. Don't forget, though, we should say that when you get down to 30 or less, everyone still will score a goal, essentially, when we hit the barrier of over 30, under 30, I should say, sorry. The new boy, Jordan Mohammed, leads the team of the week with a stunning 3.2 kilo loss.
Wow.
Milestone man Sam Troughton is close on his heels with 3.1 kilos, while Tom Marks and ever-present Matt Waterman celebrate their milestones by retaining their places in the top 7. So the full list is as follows. As I said, Jordan Mohammed at the top with 3.2, Sam Troughton just behind with 3.1. Geordie makes the team of the week yet again with the 2.2 kilos. Tom Marks with 2.2, Mike Morris with 1.9, Tom Davey with 1.5, and Matt Waterman with 1.4. So not everyone had a great week, though, we should say, for what it's worth. As I said, I had a shocker. Steve even admits himself he had a shocker. But we all get a fresh start for the week ahead. So it's time to build on whatever progress we've made and learn from the disappointments to avoid whatever tripped us up this last week. Wherever we're starting from, we can all make good choices and, if necessary, different choices this coming week. So, or in the coming weeks that follow, essentially. So let's all look to make next week a better one.
Absolutely. Indeed.
We've got this. We know we will. As a league in general, we tend to bounce back really well.
So. Yeah, definitely. Also, a big shout out, I should have said at the beginning, obviously we're missing Ben this week as he's otherwise occupied, but it was his birthday yesterday, and Southgate and the boys certainly delivered a lovely present for him. But yeah, many happy returns, Ben. You're sorely missed
yes.
again this week.
Belated happy birthday. And and he was positive about England, to be fair. I can't tell if that was birthday buoyancy from his point of view, or if he meant it sincerely.
Yeah.
So
that's one thing he's always done very well is positivity. Is our Ben? He's very good at that, and a beacon of light as always.
Yeah. Anyway, you mentioned we have a guest. That was
we certainly do.
We're done.
Yeah. So you've obviously come across this guest recently at the MVF Awards. I've come across this guest previously when we've played football against him. I think he's supported Weymouth as well as his home club Yeovil in terms of 11-a-side kick-arounds that we've had. And I know he's got a great relationship with their coach, who has subsequently I've formed a pretty good relationship with as well, Kev. So I'd like to welcome the man, the myth, the legend. It is Aaron Knight. How's things, mate? How are you?
Yeah, really good, guys. Yeah, really nice to get on. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thanks for coming, mate. We really appreciate it. Yeah. And having bumped into you again at the awards, it was definitely somebody hearing your story, and definitely somebody I wanted to get on, not just your story, but the Yeovil story that a lot of people would have seen all over the socials and everything else. It's definitely something I want to dive straight into. But first things first, mate, we have a few icebreakers so people get to know you, and these are a few questions that I don't actually know the answers to. So
go for it.
We'll start with who's your football team? Who do you support?
I'm a Liverpool fan.
Oh, okay.
I know. I actually did ask this in the quick kind of preamble we have before we start recording. So I wasn't surprised, but I really should have left it for that, really. But that's another one.
Fair enough.
That's
another one you have to deal with.
The family were all Liverpool fans. Actually, my dad was an Arsenal fan, so he was pretty good when I decided to choose Liverpool. But yeah, I've always supported them. So.
Okay. And do you have a current favourite player or a player from the past that's your favourite player, or both maybe?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a sticker for the players that play in where I like to play, which is left back. So I'm a big Andy Robertson fan. My all-time favourite though was John Arnorisa, which I think sometimes goes a little bit unnoticed, but he was one of those players that was just hard as nails really on a pitch, wasn't he? And
he was an animal, wasn't he?
He had a hell of a shot on him. So
yeah, I was going to say, can you hit him as well as he can? Because I don't know many.
I'd like to think so. I tend to get put more out on the left wing now as left side, but I'm sure if you ask the rest of my players, I may be able to run, but my end product is not quite there. So
sick. And is there any kind of standout moment that made you fall in love with Liverpool? Obviously going against your dad's wishes and him being a Gooner, what made you a Liverpool fan, do you think?
I say my family were sort of mainly, actually growing up I lived in Spain for a couple of years when I was young because my dad was in the army, so I actually grew up watching like Real Madrid and stuff as well, so I do have a good soft spot for Madrid. But I mean obviously the clear obvious one is Istanbul, the big one. I remember sort of bits and that from before then, but yeah, Istanbul for me is just, even watching back videos now, it still gives you goosebumps watching it. So yeah,
I remember it well. As a even as a Gooner, I remember it really well. I've mentioned before, and obviously we've had my younger brother on who's a massive Liverpool fan as well. That moment will live forever with him. But yeah, it's definitely something that I think any genuine football fan can stand up and respect. That turnaround and that performance, that second half performance especially, is just something that will forever be associated with Liverpool, as will many big moments in that club, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they've had some big European turnarounds, haven't they? Obviously, most recent being I guess you would say Barcelona. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Barcelona. I mean, one. That was again a pretty special one. I have to say, I was watching it with thinking 3-0 down. It's not much of a chance here against this Barcelona team, but yeah, I have to say I was celebrating pretty wildly when those goals started going in. So
I can imagine.
Always got to believe.
Without taking the piss and being ignorant, how did Liverpool finish that Champions League? Was that the one that they got to the final? I can't remember. Did you get to the final in the end, and that was the Gareth Bale final? Or am I imagining that?
No, that was the one we won. So that was
okay,
yeah,
that makes it even better,
so
doesn't it?
Made it even better. Yeah.
Yeah, nice, amazing.
Okay.
So, the reason why we've got you on, mate, is there's a few things that you've done as part of the community at MVF Yeovil, but as well as the individual kind of performance and life-changing work you've done on yourself. So what we'd love to do, and I don't think Josh knows as much as I do around the stuff that you've done and what you have been doing. So if we can jump straight in, how long have you been doing your MVF football?
Yes, I joined in 2019. So I joined through a friend of mine saw it as an advert on Facebook and suggested that maybe me and him joined up together. I'd sort of started trying to lose a little bit of weight before that, but I'd done all the usual Weight Watchers, Slimming World, and I got on all right with them, but I felt they're very sort of female orientated, and it's for a young guy at the time. I was only 23, so it's quite daunting as a 23-year-old male to be in a room full of women in that kind of situation, and it's uncomfortable. So when this opportunity came up, and when I hadn't played football since I was sort of 17, so I'd been out of the game for a few years, but it was, for me, I thought I've got to give it a go, and I'd not too recently moved to Yeovil, so I didn't know that many people either. My job was sort of travelling, so I didn't really know a lot of people, so I also thought, it's a good opportunity to get to meet other people as well.
Yeah,
definitely.
I have a quick question around that then. So, as you, and it's almost an icebreaker on the MVF. So you got involved in MVF. What made you start getting involved? Was there a history of, what's your history with weight essentially?
Yeah, so I mean, I'd always considered myself as being slightly bigger than people when I was younger, sort of broader, and definitely not the physically fit. I never really enjoyed the gym. So I played football throughout my youth, but even still, I think once the football stopped at sort of 16, I think that's when the weights started. And then the usual, you get into a relationship, and traveling around a lot meant that I was spending most of my days in the car or sat at a desk. So I was never very active. I just got to a point where I knew I was uncomfortable with myself. I was always wearing clothes that were too big for me because I didn't want them sticking to my skin, showing how big I was. And I think I was kind of in denial, to be honest, about how big I was. When I look back at it now, I really will make sure that I never get back there. But it was that kind of realization, I think, is like, I am uncomfortable with myself. I'm self-conscious about how I feel, how I look. So to me, it was important that doing this and giving it a go. I tried the other stuff. It didn't really work for me. So try something new.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. How do you think it's changed your life?
To be honest with you, I don't know. It's crazy, but I genuinely couldn't see a life without MVF now. It's, for me, I live and breathe it. The Yeovil League, and not just the Yeovil League, like the whole community. I love seeing all the stories on Facebook. I love hearing about them, hearing about them with the awards. That everything is so inspiring when you hear about it and listen about other people's journeys and what they're going through. And for me, I genuinely, if I have to miss a game, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Even if I'm on holiday, like I'm messaging straight away, like, good luck, how did everyone get on the scales, how did the game go, because I want to know. I hate missing out on it. So yeah, it's become a massive part of my life now, and I don't see that changing, to be honest, for as long as I can see. So
and obviously for the good as well, mate, which is amazing. You picked up you mentioned the awards, you picked up an individual award. What was that for at MVF in Manchester?
Yeah, so I picked up an award this year for Community Hero. So I was very kindly nominated by the rest of the guys in the league through just the. It's one of those. I picked it up, but for me, I wouldn't have won it without the involvement of everyone else. Everyone else had to sort of listen to me and follow my ideas, and I was coming up with stuff, and I needed that backing from people. If I didn't get the backing, it would never have materialized. So for me, it was about everyone. It wasn't just about me. Obviously, we did then come away with Community Club of the Year, which second that really, and went to show how much hard work we put in over the last 12 months. But I mean, that all came off the back of being at the Awards last year and listening to the stories and listening to what people were doing, and that really spurred me on to sort of go, you know, we've always done a lot as a club, but we've never been very vocal about it, and that's where I wanted to change things. I wanted other people to start hearing and seeing what we do, because we were always doing things. It was just no one really knew about it, and hearing what other clubs were putting out about, you know, all the work they were doing, I could see where maybe we were going wrong, and actually that it wasn't that we were doing any less than anyone else. It was just we weren't really shouting about it. So
yeah.
And I think that just inspires other people, you know, it inspires other clubs and other people to go out and do similar things.
Definitely. It's very reminiscent of what we were talking about, Josh, wasn't it? Coming away from the awards, we really kind of said, because I'm sure you'd appreciate as well, Aaron, that there was a lot of awards for a lot of nominations for all the same clubs, and I would say there's probably about maybe 10 to 15 clubs in all that were really just kind of getting mentioned every time, and that there needs to be more. We needed to do more. We didn't ask for nominations, but we're very, very kindly nominated by people that we that part of our group. But I think we need to branch out a bit more and look at what other people are doing, and also recognise you're bang on. You've got to start telling people about what you're doing, because people do need a pat on the back and a congratulations for it. And it also just raises the profile, especially of the amazing work that you've done personally and as a club with the charity.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, and it also goes to raise the profile of the whole of MVF, because we all do so much, but unless we put it out there, and social media being such a big thing now, unless we all start putting out like the hard work that we're doing, you know, it goes to show other people that yes, we're there for weight loss, we're there for football, but we're not just there for that. We're there for all the other little things that come with it. And then it goes on to inspire other people that aren't even maybe part of MVF, but they see what we're doing and they think, okay, we could do something like that, whether it's part of their business or part of another sports club they run. So for me, that's the most important thing. It's not just about showing other MVF clubs, it's about showing everyone what we're doing, so that, you know, it does start to inspire others to do the same.
Amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah. I meant to ask you about there, in terms of your individual, I think you mentioned to me, and I could be wrong here, I apologise, but you've been nominated several times for that same award, haven't you?
Well, I've been nominated, so I finally won this time on my 5th nomination, so that was I mean, if my reaction at the awards didn't say enough, then I don't know what more I can say. But
that was epic, by the way, mate.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah,
I mean, I did watch it back and I thought, maybe I'd had a few more drinks prior to winning that than I thought I had. But
fuck that, mate. You deserved every minute of that, and Razor loved it as well, didn't he? He's like, that's how everybody should be celebrating, and I completely agree.
Razor was great, but no, I've been nominated for Community Hero before, back in 2022, so the sort of virtual one they did, and actually it was another member of our club that won it then as well. And that was for again charity work that we did for November at the time, which he sort of took charge of at the time. But I've been nominated for others as well. So yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy one to get nominated so many times. I'm very proud of even getting the nominations, to be honest. To get to those final nominations out of how many people are nominated overall, get those final shortlists is an achievement in itself. But I think to finally come home with, you know, that proper accolade that shows exactly how much hard work I feel that I've put in, it was it was a massive. And actually, I have to say it was a bit of a surprise, because I genuinely, it sounds crazy, but I was convinced in our head that Community Club of the Year was ours, you know, because of the work that we've done. So I wasn't expecting to get mine as well. I thought, you know, they're not going to give out 2. So I wasn't even nervous when they were calling out the names, because I was just sat there thinking, you know, they're not going to give us this because we're going to get Community Club of the Year. So I think that's why my reaction also was a little bit shocked. So
it was amazing, mate, honestly, and it was a proper moment that was noticed by a lot of people. So well done, mate. Can you give us some numbers? What numbers have you been doing in terms of fundraising, and who for? What have you been raising cash for?
Yeah, so obviously MVF last year ran the diabetes sort of 1 million steps challenge alongside Diabetes UK. So we decided to get involved in that, and we've been talking and thinking about what we could do, and that kind of came at the right time. So I came up with the idea of let's walk a marathon. So we would walk a coastal path marathon from just outside of Bridgewater and Somerset to Minehead. But we wanted to do other stuff in the lead up to that. So with the whole million steps challenge, we wanted to kind of make it a big sort of 3-month thing and get as much money in as possible. So we did cake sales. I contacted, must have been over 100 local businesses, seeing if we could get some raffle prizes together. Some of the other guys contacted people they knew, and then I got everyone as well to bring in as much stuff that they were looking to maybe give to charity or and then we went and sold it at a car boot. So I mean, we made just shy of £600 just from car boot sales. So
wow.
I had a van packed to the roof, and one of the other guys had his car packed to the roof, and we actually did 2 car boots in one day. It was a long day, I have to say. A lot of haggling, but we did play on the it's for charity, so give as much as you can. It was kind of, but it worked, and people were being very generous. And then the raffle tickets we made, again, nearly £700 in raffle ticket sales. And we had some incredible prizes. Our top prize was a hot air balloon ride for 2, and it cost £700 in itself. So
wow.
We did really well in terms of that. But the guys pulled together. There was about 15 of us in total that sort of got really involved in doing the whole walk and the main fundraising. But we ended on £6,250, and we ended on as being the highest fundraising team in the whole of the UK that were fundraising for Diabetes UK. So that's not just in MVF, that is absolutely anyone in the country that was fundraising for them. And we beat them. We beat the second place team by nearly £2,000. So we were we were well and truly up there. And at one point it was quite close. So I was like, come on guys, we've got to really push this. We're this close to the end. Let's come away with it. But the effort that everyone put in was just massive. People were doing the sort of football cards, where you scratch off to see who's won, and they were selling those off at work, and everyone just put in a massive amount of effort, and it really shows. It really shows. So I was super proud of everyone. And like I say, I just saw myself as the brains behind it. I was doing the sort of background work really, but I needed everyone to kind of get on board with it, because I couldn't have done it on my own, and I needed people to get involved and sort of want to get involved. So it was brilliant. The walk went amazing.
What was harder, mate? The 2 car boots in a day or the whole walk?
The walk was hard. It was. We picked. Obviously, it had to be one of the hottest days of the year. Absolutely no wind, which I think on a coast path has got to be unheard of. But I had to sort of a few days before I had to replan the route because it was so hot. So we had some amazing people. My mother-in-law, one of the other guys from football, and Kev's wife basically met us at several points on the route. So they fed us, they refilled our fluids, and gave us plasters if we needed them. And so they were amazing. They were there the whole day, just meeting us at each point and giving us the support that we needed. But
how many miles was it?
It was a 26.2.
Wow.
It was 1,400 foot elevation in total, so it wasn't a flat route either, which some of the guys weren't too happy about, and they also weren't happy about. We covered. I think if it snowed on the day, I think we would have covered every terrain. So it was pretty. We had the beach, we had rocks, we had everything. So there were a lot of blisters, a lot of sunburn people at the end, but it was so worth it. And we got some amazing photos of us all at the end, sort of just hugging each other, and they brought us some beers and ciders at the end. We went to the pub for a couple of drinks, and it was an amazing day. Something I'll never forget. But it was difficult. I won't lie, it was hard work.
Hey, that's incredible.
It's just I'm kind of speechless, because it was mentioned to me. I knew a little bit about it before we went to MVF Awards, but obviously coming away from that and having spoken to you a little bit, and just hearing about it there, I just kind of gobsmacked, really, and thoroughly deserved, by the way, community.
Yeah, thank you. I
Absolutely
mean,
smashed that. Never, no one was going to get close, were they? Really?
Yeah, thank you. It was
phenomenal.
yeah, it was great to come away with something that really showed. I mean, for us, what we did and the amount of money we raised was enough as it is, but to come away with an award as well just really cemented that. And some of the effort that the guys put in, like I say, we had one guy there, Ollie, who'd lost nearly 10 stone run up to doing that walk.
Wow.
He didn't manage to do the full walk just because of the heat and everything, but he managed to do 18 miles on the day, which is the most miles he's ever done.
It's incredible.
And like his training up until that point was incredible. I mean, everyone on the day I think walked the furthest they'd ever walked. So it was it was an amazing day. And to get the award, like I say, it's just it was incredible.
Kev mentioned that he was so worried about you boys and looking after you guys and making sure you're okay. He almost done himself in, didn't he?
Yeah, he ended up in 6 days in hospital straight after the walk. So
wow.
Yeah, he well and truly did himself in. It turns out he had sort of some underlying health conditions that he didn't really know about, but he was so worried about everything that he was trying to push himself as much as he could on the day. And he didn't manage to do the full walk, but he managed, I think it was 22 miles in the end. So he did near enough the whole thing. But yeah, that night we got home, had a text from him saying, yeah, I'm just going into hospital, just going for a checkup. And he ended up being in there for a week. So it was,
wow.
He well and truly, and he's still suffering now from those health conditions and probably will do for a while. But Kev's amazing. He puts his heart and soul into everything, but he really let me run away with this one and kind of trusted me to take control, which for Kev is quite hard. And he'll laugh when I say that because he knows that he likes to be in control with these things. Much do I as well. But yeah, he trusted me, and hopefully now with the awards, I've earned his trust for future projects. So.
Amazing, mate. Am I right in thinking you did a 24-hour football match as well? Because I think a few of our guys came down. This was a few years back. I think a few of our guys came down and helped out. I think Kev.
Yeah, so that was when we won the other community hero. So that was the Movember. Again, we actually finished top fundraising team in the UK for that one as well, and beating the England rugby team. In terms of fundraising. So
wow.
Yeah, that was Lockers from our league. He took control of that one. But again, we did the raffle, we did the 24-hour football, and I think we raised, I think it was just over £4,000 that time for Movember. So we've well and truly fleeced everyone that we know. I'm trying to plan the next one, but at the same time thinking I don't know how much more money I can get out of people.
Exactly. Yeah, you get to a point where you can't ask anymore. Yeah.
No, I've got to start spreading it out a little bit more. But
go global.
I know, we're going to have to, I think. Yeah, we're going to have to.
On that note, I think it's an absolute own goal on our part, and I think, and maybe on your part, that we're not doing stuff together, just being an hour down the road. We've got to start supporting each other and getting involved with these sorts of things. I know we helped with that 24-hour football, but me and Josh have been cooking something up in the background and have a bit of a dream about maybe a tournament or even a 24-hour football thing at our local pitch that we use for our 11-a-sides. But it's definitely something I know whose door I'll be knocking on for some help and also getting you to come down and get involved. That'd be amazing.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, the guys at our league are always up for anything like that. And when it comes to fundraising stuff, they're all over it. So if you guys ever get anything set up like that, then give us a shout, and we'll definitely make sure we get as many people down to help and support. That's the whole thing about MVF. It's not just about your club; it's about supporting the other clubs around you as well. Because we're all there for the same reason, and working together just goes to show what the community is about. So
definitely. Do you have another charity that you're going to move on to, or are you sticking with the diabetes side of things? What's your thought process with that?
Yeah, so I mean, we've recently, a couple of weeks ago, did a sort of collection and donation for a local homeless charity called Help for Homeless. So we've done a few bits for them before, but we got the sort of chairman to come up, and she brought someone else up with her as well, and they were just blown away by the amount of donations that everyone had in terms of food and clothing, and people were donating sleeping bags and tents, and they were blown away. And they're really keen to get involved with us. So they might be someone that we sort of look to do some work with soon. They do like food handouts in Yeovil and all around Somerset. So we're thinking of maybe getting some guys to go down and help out with that as well. So I think, yeah, I've got loads of ideas. I don't know if I haven't relayed some of them to Kev yet, because I'm scared of his reaction, but I've got some crazy ideas that I've been cooking up in my head of what we can do over the next 12 months. But I'm really trying to, again, we've been doing a lot of this stuff in the past, but we just haven't been talking about it enough. So I've tried to put together after the awards, a bit of a committee of people that we can all kind of help each other. So me and Kev both put our hands up and say that we always try and do probably too much, which can obviously backfire. So I've recently passed on some responsibilities. I ran our 11-a-side team, so I've passed that on just because I want to really focus on the community stuff over the next 12 months. But we've definitely got to get together though with you guys. And like I said, Kev runs Weymouth, so we've got Weymouth there as well. And we know a few guys from Bridgewater that are not too far away, and they're keen to get involved in things. So
amazing. That juggling a lot at once sounds familiar, doesn't it, Josh? I think you and I take on quite a lot, and Ben certainly does as well. I think there's certainly an element of sharing that load that I can certainly take some inspiration from, for sure.
It's not easy, believe me. It's not something I necessarily want to do, but I know that I need to, not just for my sake, but for everyone else's. And if I really want to put the effort into kind of the ideas that I've got, then I need to give up some of the other stuff. So
very humble, mate. That's as you say, it's a tricky thing to do, and I certainly think Josh will agree. I'm certainly quite controlling when it comes to things like this. That
you got a hand in everything, haven't you, Jack?
I certainly seem to, mate. And I think at the moment, we had a bit of a mishap on a Thursday night recently where the pitch I thought was booked and it wasn't booked, and I end up beating myself up over it. And my brothers always say, why do you take so much on? And I'm always kind of like, if I fuck up, I've only got myself to blame. If somebody else fucks up, I'm annoyed with them. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of like, if it's me, then it's only me that I'm angry with. It's just a weird way of doing it. But I completely understand. And to the scale of what you've been doing, mate, I don't think I've got a sniff on that at the moment. But
no, I it's hard though, isn't it? I'm the same as you. I want to be involved in all of it, and I'm a control freak. I'll admit that. I like to take control of things. So I have to say it's not easy giving up some of the stuff, but at the same time, I know for the better good of everyone else, it's something I need to do so that other people can kind of get the enjoyment out of it as well.
Definitely.
Well, I've got a question for you actually, and Jack, this is kind of partly for Jack as well. How do you find that fits being so busy and trying to keep up in terms of your day-to-day, not necessarily your work and life, but your weight, in particular Man v Fat, and trying to keep weight off? I mean, I have to admit we didn't actually cover how much weight you had lost, Aaron, but so maybe you can tell us that as well. But just how do you find that, being so busy, how do you find that keeps with the weight? Is that a good thing because you're involved in the community, or is it
Yeah, I mean, going back to sort of weight loss, so I joined Man v Fat at 115 kilos, and I'd lost just over 5 prior to that. At the moment, I'm sitting at just over 80, so I've lost about 40 kilos in total.
Amazing.
I've hit maintenance for the second time. I hit it the first time during the first lockdown, so I got involved in I don't know how long you guys have been at Man v Fat, but they did the Man v Fat challenge, like online challenge through the first lockdown, when obviously people couldn't go out and we couldn't play football. So I got involved in that and I got down to maintenance. And then when the second lockdown hit, I kind of got a bit lazy, put a bit of weight back on, and then I really struggled after that to kind of get it off. I think the second time round it was a lot harder. I don't feel like I was doing anything different, but I just think my body was kind of used to what I was doing. So I found it a lot more difficult. But this year I've got back down to maintenance again, and I've been there now for just over a whole season. So about 14-15 weeks. And I've managed to stay within the same sort of 200 grams. So I've not, but going back to keeping the weight
That's
off.
impressive. That's really impressive.
Yeah, super
I
good,
mean,
mate.
the running probably helps. I've been doing a lot of running, so that probably helps. I'm thinking about it now. Actually, my poor missus, I don't think she sees me a lot actually. Between work, running, football, and doing everything else, I don't think I see her too much. But and planning a wedding, we're getting married in 2 months' time.
Oh,
so
congratulations!
Mate.
I don't give myself, a lot of free time. Put it that way.
No, definitely not. That was going to be one of my questions as well. So talk to us about these ultra marathons, you crazy bastard.
So I started running when I first started losing weight. So I got about 3 stone off just through sort of changing my diet and playing football obviously on a Friday, and then it kind of plateaued. So I'd always said I wanted to run a half marathon, so I decided to sign up to Yeovil half marathon and then trained for that, and COVID hit and it got cancelled, and then I was meant to do Weymouth later in the year and that got cancelled again because of COVID. So I ended up just running my own half marathon around Yeovil, which doesn't have quite the same feel to it when you're just running on your own. Even though I trained for it, it just wasn't really the same. But then the things kind of I stopped for a bit, and then I decided to do my first marathon. So I did Exeter Marathon in 2021, which was an amazing experience to kind of do it. But again, it was coming out of the second lockdown, and it was quite a small marathon because of the amount they were limited to the amount of entries. So last year I decided that I really wanted to step it up and I wanted to go for a big marathon. So I did Brighton Marathon this year. And I also decided, because one of the guys in our league, Tom, who was nominated for most active at the awards, he did an ultra marathon last year, and I thought, well, I've got to give it a go really. So I decided to sign up for one this year, which I did a couple of weeks ago, and it went really well. Brighton Marathon, I set a PB, so I managed to get sub 4 hours, which was my target. I scraped it by 1 minute and 2 seconds, so it wasn't. I didn't quite smash it, but I really struggled on the day. It was hot and I had cramp for about 10 miles, which was horrific. Absolutely, yeah. And 2 miles from the end, I watched the 4-hour pacer run past me while I was trying to stretch the cramp out, and that really didn't do my head any good. So I had to sprint for nearly 2 miles to get past them again. But the ultra went amazing. It was, to be honest with you, I wasn't sure what to expect because I've always been a road runner. So to go and do a trail marathon on a coastal path, and I didn't really know what to expect, and I knew it was going to be hot in June, but it was an amazing day. I think you kind of get lost in it in terms of like the scenery around you, and you don't really go it as hard as you do for a road marathon because it's more just about enjoying it. But yeah, I came away at a great time. I finished just over 7 hours. And I'm already eyeing up potentially. I'm hoping my partner doesn't listen to this, but I'm eyeing up potentially 100k next year. So
wow,
I don't know why I do these things to myself, if I'm honest. But people say I'm mad, but I've just in my head, as soon as I complete one challenge, I think, what's next? What can I do next?
Yeah. Obviously very driven, mate. It's amazing. I was going to ask you because I'm not the kind of person who just runs for the sake of running. I'll freely admit that I've never really fully enjoyed it unless it's part of your team sport. How far is an ultra marathon? Because I actually don't know, if I'm honest.
Yeah, so it's 50. Well, technically it's anything over a marathon, but this was a 50 kilometer. Although 2 days before the race, they decided to change the route, add on 2 miles, and add on another 1,000-foot elevation, which was kind of which didn't go down too well on the day. There was a lot of people that I was seeing that were really struggling. But yeah, so it ended up being about 54k, I think, in the end. Just under 33 miles. So yeah, it was it's just extremely impressive.
I find anyone who can do marathons alone very, very impressive. So especially those who do it consistently and then try to one up themselves.
It's not it's not easy, the training in itself. I mean, I've been training 5-6 days a week for 11 months solid in the run up to the ultra. So it's a lot on your body and getting the food right, and then like you say, you've got your normal job and still playing football all the way through and trying to not get injuries. And so yeah, it's not easy. And again, it comes back to that when I say I take on too much. it's the same with like my own personal things that I want to do. Again, I do take on too much, but I'm just one of those people that I can't sit still. So I've always got to be doing something.
Fair enough. It just boggles the mind, to be honest, mate. I mean, I like to keep busy. People in the league have said that to me quite a bit. How do I find the time? But mate, I have no idea how you find the time to do this stuff. Honestly, you're talking about training, and then you're talking about doing everything for the community that you've done, the phenomenal stuff at Yeovil, and being involved in MVF consistently, and keeping the weight off alone is a mental task.
Maintaining a relationship.
Yeah.
I've somehow managed that. I mean, I think by the skin of my teeth, if I'm honest, but every Saturday morning when she says, what are we going to do today? I'm just going to go out for a 4-hour run and I'll see you in a bit. But yeah, she's kind of I think she's glad it's now over. She said, she did say to me the other day, she said, can you not book anything else in before the wedding at least? Can you just have a bit of a break? But
don't want you hobbling down the aisle.
Well, no. I mean, I have seen something that I do want to do that's potentially a couple of weeks before the wedding, but I haven't asked yet. Because I'm a bit scared to ask, to be honest. But...
Do a marathon to the aisle. That's it. The finish line is the aisle.
Yeah, that could work. Don't give me ideas, because that'll be it.
Mate, it's absolutely incredible, and it's inspirational on so many counts with the effort that you put into the community, this fundraising, your weight loss, the dedication to everything else as well, mate, and an absolute banging guest, exactly what we want to have on here to really promote. And like I say, an absolute own goal on our part for not doing anything with you before, really, now being only an hour down the road. So we're definitely going to start opening those lines of communication and start getting some stuff done with you guys. And we need a kick around at the same time. That'd be good laugh.
Yeah, definitely. We'll we can get something sorted, no problem. And yeah, like you say, it's silly that an hour away and we've not really done a lot up until now, but there's plenty of time going forward. I'm sure we can get. And
like you say, with Weymouth literally in the middle of us as well, it's
I know, yeah,
it's another own
Weymouth as well, so it's it's even crazier, really. But
amazing, mate. You're more than welcome to stick around. We're going to, unfortunately, we're going to talk some England now, and a little bit of transfer news. One thing I had seen is Michael Olise has agreed to join Bayern Munich, which I think is an amazing move for him. I'm surprised he's not staying in the Premier League, but I see that he's having his medical, I think, this week, which is hopefully going to give Palace some money what they deserve for at least one of their superstars. Is there anything else that's caught your attention quickly, Josh and Aaron, on the transfer front? I know it's a little bit quiet with the Copa America and the Euros going on and everything else, but I think there's a few rumblings, a few bits happening.
Nothing specific. If I'm really honest, I haven't paid too much attention to it. I've been kind of very international football focused, as a lot of people have, really, I guess. It's England. It's the time of year where everyone should come together and support the lads. One team as such, but they're not giving us much reason to at the moment, too much, are we? But maybe we'll come to that in a second.
Yeah,
I've got nothing specific else.
One thing I have seen with the transfers, so like Douglas Luiz leaving Villa for Juventus, and what's interesting is he's dating that Alicia Lehmann, the very attractive footballer that plays for Aston Villa as well.
I did see this, yeah.
And she has moved to Juventus as well from Villa, so they've kind of done a double deal for both halves of that relationship. And I think it's an interesting one from Villa's perspective. I know that they've got a couple of players back in return, and I must admit I've not paid attention who they've got back. But I know that Villa are one of the teams that are quietly shitting themselves over the financial fair play stuff. I know that there's a few interesting deals between them and Chelsea. There was one fella that's grown very popular on Facebook that talks about transfers. On TikTok that's grown famous talking about transfers, and he's saying that he's calling them PRS deals. So basically, he thinks they're working a way to swap players for nothing to get big transfers for direct swaps, something along those lines. But he's certain that there's some dodgy stuff going on there. So I think it's worth watching that space. On the home front, I haven't seen anything for Bournemouth or Arsenal as yet, but I think a lot of Arsenal players are international players at the moment that are certainly busy. I've just seen that obviously Ukraine have gone out of the Euros. The first time anybody's ever gone knocked out the Euros with 4 points, which is pretty brutal. Seeing as it's Ukraine as well, it just feels a little harsh. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else on top of that, Josh. As you say, you've not really paid it too much attention.
No, nothing specific. I mean, I'll follow Fabrizio like everyone, and I'll just see occasional rumblings, but nothing concrete. And that's basically it. It'll all come crashing down after the Euros is done. So
definitely
when the players are back home.
Yeah, that's it. Finish their holidays and ready to go. So, your opinion, Aaron, we'll start with you, mate, because me and Josh have spoken about this last night as we sat next to each other watching the dross. What's your opinion on how things are going for England at the Euros?
I mean, it's pretty diabolical, really, isn't it? I think just we've got so much quality in that team. You know, the players that we have, we should be doing so much better. But I just can't. What I can't get my head round with Southgate is why he's so set in his ways when there's so much anger and, you know, discussion from everyone around him. You know, the pundits, the fans all around the country just screaming at, you know, make these changes. And last night, for example, he brings Trent on in defence, and he brings Palmer on, and he brings Gordon on and Mainu, and instantly we were creating so many more chances and looking a lot better than we have done. But to leave it to like the last 10 minutes of the final group game, it seems crazy to me when he's had so much opportunity to do it sooner.
Yeah, it's almost like he ignores all the other evidence that he sees week in, week out in the Premier League to form his own evidence in a few days of training with England.
Yeah,
you know, I don't understand it. Like, and he's got really defiant and really in interviews as well, hasn't he? He's got like really like, that's up to me and the boys, and I'm going to do it my way kind of thing, and that's fine. Yeah. But
it's not worth it.
I think he is a victim of his own success. I think he is convinced himself because of how well he's done in the other tournaments, where he has been pretty bullish and done it his way. And saying get away with it might be a bit harsh. Been successful to a certain extent. Obviously, a semi-final and a final, we can't really, other than winning the fucking thing, you can't really say much to that. But I think now he's so arrogant in terms of his opinion with it, and so determined that he knows best, that it's now having the opposite effect, I think. And one thing I noticed a lot is the players talking about it more than ever. I think there was obviously Lineker had come out and said some stuff on a podcast, and I was very surprised to see a real intimate interview with Declan Rice about it, and him directly referencing those things. So it's clearly getting into camp. It's clearly something that they're having conversations about, or they're aware that people are talking about. And that sort of thing just compounds the problem. I think if they were able to just shut it out. I remember the times, especially when he started in his pomp, I think with England, really started to turn things around, is he had a really good relationship with the media, and he also had the ability to shut everything out. And they kept, instead of having camps that were in the middle of a town where all eyes on them, all the wags are around, he started taking them away from that and being in the middle of nowhere and locking it down and making it watertight, even to the fact that Baker Ruthers from Talk Sport, the proper Talk Sport representative for England, said to Rice, we know that Gallagher's going to start next. And he's like, how do you guys get this information? How do you know that? He's like, it'd be amazing to play alongside him and everything. But the first thing he said is, I don't understand how you guys get this information. That's proving that there's leaks in there. We know the lineup before it's announced. We know it a couple of days before.
Yeah, but that's
partly, very rare.
That's partly due to that's partly due to
his predictability.
Yeah.
But also,
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
that one change, it could have been Mainu, it could have been somebody else rather than Gallagher, and they hit the nail on the head. So somebody's getting that information out. So I don't think it's as harmonious as it should be. And for him to come out last night and say, blame me, don't blame the players, he's doing that shielding work. He's like, I understand the frustration with me and all of these sorts of things.
I think he feels like they're under pressure. I think their players, even from the Ratchet, like you said about Declan Rice, Harry Kane was the same. He was a little bit same in the interview. I think they feel the pressure. And
Yeah.
I think, as you say, they hear all this stuff and they see it all, or to some degree, and it gets to them. You know, they're human after all. And I will say this, you know, I don't think the media do a very good job of. I mean, we're talking the same. Fans are the same, but I think the media are particularly bad with it. Is the negativity towards it, and I do think that really doesn't help. You know,
No.
I understand that England have got genuinely is another generational, like golden generation as such. They've got phenomenal players. You've got, as I said on pod a few weeks ago, you've probably got the best player in Germany, the best player in England, the best player in Spain at the moment in the team, and it's just I get that, but at the same time I think to myself, it must be a little bit difficult as a human to have that kind of pressure on you and to have this noise all the time around you when you're just trying to do your job. I'm
a genuine believer that pressure is a privilege.
Yeah. Well, I just can't believe that any of them would go out there not wanting to do their best and win. You know, that's just not.
No, and this is where I personally feel that we're pointing the finger at the right problem, and that is the decisions that he's making. Like you said, he's looking at how good these players are for their club teams and playing them in completely different positions. And that for me shows that he is the cause, he is the root of the problem, and that's the frustrating part of it. That's what's really really difficult to take, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, just think of how good it'll be. Just imagine we go out to the Dutch, assuming it is the Dutch we play. Yeah, how terrible that'll be, and then how good the World Cup could be without Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, and Eddie in charge.
I don't think it'll be Eddie.
No,
I'm really honest. He wants to play. He wants to do club football, and unless he was fired by Newcastle and he happened to land this summer, I don't think he's ever going to take it. You know.
Yeah.
Well, he won't take it yet. At some point in his career, he might. But
I can't. Yeah. I just can't help but feel if we had a shithouse tactician like somebody like Mourinho in charge of this team that can rally them up, can go in there and balls the fucking size of bowling balls and go, look, this is what we're doing, respected by the players. We're going to shithouse our way to winning a tournament. We're going to nick games. We're going to play well. We're going to score goals. We're going to do everything we can to do this. And they would run through brick walls for somebody like him. I just don't get that with Southgate. And he's from day dot. I think I said last week, and I'll continue to say, he fell into the job, and he's fallen into a generational talent in this team. And he's very lucky to be in that job. He doesn't get into it. He doesn't manage any other Premier League team. Obviously, you know, one of the lads we play football with on the 11s, Jamie. I saw him tweet the other night. Give me Iriola ball. You think of how well Iriola could do with this team. Yeah. Look how much he's turned Bournemouth around and how well he did with Bournemouth. What could he do with these guys with the high press and the energy and a proper tactician? I just don't think Southgate has got it.
The one thing I will say, international football, obviously everyone knows it differs massively from your club in that all of these players play in probably most of it, exclusion of Harry Kane and Bellingham, they play in the Premier League, yeah? So they play in the best league in the world. They should be playing like a Premier League team. Because with that high intensity, that high energy, that kind of, you know, and all of a sudden you come into a tournament and they seem to be playing what Gareth Southgate would like to say is tournament football. And while I understand that, I just feel like if we were playing Premier League football, we'd steamroll everyone.
Definitely.
Now, I'm not saying it's the manager's job, by the way, to be an absolute tactical genius, because I think when you've got people like Phil Foden and that who play under Pep Guardiola, they get most of their tactical nous from someone like them. And the job of the England manager is more of a selection and giving them a bit more confidence. Yeah, exactly. Bit of confidence, but also, yes, they do have to have some tactical nous, like substitutions and playing people in the correct positions and, you know, say a few small instructions. But otherwise, it should be play. You know, we're going to play you like you do for your club. You know, think about what your manager's already taught you to do and replicate it here.
Yeah.
You know,
I think the other thing as well, if you look at the standout team for me so far in the Euros is Austria, just for the way that they've played.
Yeah,
And
well,
I know we
was
joked
going
about
to joke.
Ralph Ragnick.
Ragnick, yeah.
But-
I was going to joke about having Ralph Ragnick as the manager.
But what he's done is he's got them playing like a club team. There's no superstars in the team. They're playing like a club team. They're playing with so much spirit and so much energy and just absolutely going for it. And yeah, they're not going to win it. Well, I eat my words if they do, but they're not going to win it. But they're certainly going to get a lot of credit along the way. And I guarantee those fans are enjoying it a lot more than we are. I'd be happy if we'd lost 3-2 last night, but we'd given it a go and actually gone for them and scored goals. It just the handbrake is on. And he is holding that handbrake firmly up, and he is the person that's holding it back. I'm sure of it. You can't blame any of those players, like you say. I don't think any of those players are going out there to go, we're going to lose. I think they're going out there going, I don't have a fucking clue what he wants us to do.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, mate, just in the last few minutes we have you. Any final thoughts on the England team? What do you think's the outcome's going to be? Where do you think we'll finish? What's the? I mean, we are on the good side of the draw. I'm going to come on to some positives in a minute, if there are any.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, we're on the good side of the draw, but I think if we played the way we're playing against some of the bigger teams, even Holland, even Netherlands, I can't see us coming away with a win playing that kind of football. So, something's got to change. Like you said, I don't think it's the players that can be blamed. I think it's the tactics. I think it's the kind of football that Southgate wants us to play. And, that, like you say, none of those players play that kind of football for their clubs in any way. So to do it for England, you can see it's clearly not working. I think realistically, regardless of the outcome of this tournament, Southgate he's got to say enough's enough. Don't get me wrong, he's done some amazing stuff for us in the past, against the finals, semi-finals. It's been brilliant, but I think his style of football with the players that we have just now doesn't work. And I think, it's.
I think he knows he's done. I think
he
knows he's done. I think he knows this is it. And maybe that's weighing on him and making his decision making is not. So I don't know.
He shouldn't have got rid of the waistcoat. I think that's what.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
amazing. Right, okay. I think on that note, I know Aaron's got some football to get to this evening. As if he's got time to do anything else. So he's busy this evening. And I know that there's some football to watch at our end. So if there's anything else from you, Josh, but I think it's been an absolute pleasure to have Aaron on.
Yeah, absolutely. The only one thing I will say before I eulogise about your Aaron, mate, is in terms of the England thing, let's just think positively, shall we, lads? Still in it, still games to go. Good side of the draw. Even Belgium on the other side of the draw. Not that they're looking like a great team, but they're dangerous. So you get past the Dutch and should be clean sailing.
I'll let you be the positive one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no.
I'm not sold.
Conceded 1 goal. That's it.
Scores 2.
And in the second half of this last game, we were completely dominant, and with a little bit of youthful energy, we were looking pretty good.
Absolutely.
Anyway, thank you very much, Aaron.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. It's been amazing.
Our pleasure, mate. What we'll do is we'll get this out on Friday, and we'll make sure you can share it to your Yeovil boys and anybody else that's going to listen to it. And please stay in touch, and we'll sort some stuff out.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, we'll keep in touch and we'll get some games sorted soon. But thank you very much, guys. What you're doing again is brilliant. Not just for your club, but again for the community. And congratulations on your nomination. It was definitely well deserved.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, mate. Well, really appreciate it.
You're a community legend, a MVF UK legend. Not just local. So keep it up, mate. We'll hopefully see you soon.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks,
Cheers,
guys.
bud.
Take care.
Thank you.
Speak soon, mate. Bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.